Let's go ahead and compare the Samsung Galaxy A42 5G and the Oneplus Nord N200 5G. The Samsung Galaxy A42 5G is priced at $400, while the Oneplus Nord N200 5G is priced at $240 or free on prepaid. And both of these are pretty good budget to lower end phones price-wise, but they are very good competition. Gets you 5G at a pretty decent price. The A42 is 6.4 inches tall, 3 inches wide, 0.34 inches thick. The N200 is 6.4 inches tall, 2.9 inches wide, 0.33 inches thick, so very similar dimensions. Weight-wise, similar as well. The A42 is 6.8 ounces, while the N200 is 6.7 ounces. Build quality is roughly the same, glass front with a plastic build, plastic frame. At this price point, it is expected. For the display, the A42 has a healthy 6.6-inch Super AMOLED display, while the N200 has a 6.5-inch 90Hz LCD display, so a higher refresh rate on the N200. You have 84% screen-to-body ratio on the A42, 83% screen-to-body ratio on the N200. As for the resolution, you have a 720p resolution on the A42, so that's a HD display, but the N200 is better. You got a 1080p full HD display. When you break down the PPI, the A42 is 266. You get 406 PPI on the N200. So the overall better screen is on the N200, and that phone comes in at a lower price. So that's something right there. As for the OS and the software, the A42 has Android 11 with Samsung One UI on top. And the N200 is Android 11 with Oxygen OS 11 on top. Big difference is that the Galaxy has that Samsung UI, has that custom feel skin on it with a lot of features. It's the same software that's found on the Galaxy S21, so it's a very popular software. But the N200 appeals to people that want a close to stock Android with a few tweaks here and there. The Samsung will probably get a few upgrades. For the software, Samsung is pushing that, while the N200 will only get one major upgrade to Android 12. For the chipset, the A42 has the Snapdragon 750 5G processor. The N200 has the Snapdragon 480 5G processor. One is mid-range, while the other one is a lower-end processor, but both of these will run very similar. They are not flagship processors, but they'll handle most tasks pretty good. Very respectable speeds. You shouldn't have a lot of problems unless you're running into heavy gaming or into heavy video editing. As for internal storage, the A42 starts off at 128 gigs of storage, while the N200 offers 64. And for RAM, it depends on which A42 model you get, but it starts off at 4 gigs and then goes to 6 and it goes to 8, while the N200 has 4 gigs of RAM. I believe 4 gigs of RAM is more than enough for most people. As long as you're not going below 3 gigs of RAM, you should be fine on any Android phone. It's not like 8 gigs on flagships, but at this price point, it's okay. Thankfully, both of these phones do have micro SD card slots in case 64 or 128 gigs of storage is not enough for you. Now we move on to the camera. A42 has a quad camera set of 48 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro, 5 megapixel depth, and 200 triple camera, 13 megapixel main, 2 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel depth. The A42 films in 4K, the N200 films in 1080p. The overall better camera here is going to be the A42. Samsung always has nice cameras, especially at this $400 price point, and that ultra wide is very nice. The N200, respectable shots, but it is not really a good camera. Both of these have okay, take pretty good pictures and videos compared to its flagship, but it's not gonna be super good. If you want really good videos and cameras and pictures and stuff, look elsewhere and spend a little bit more money. But out of these two, the better one is the Samsung. Low lights shots are probably gonna be pretty bad on both of these devices. As for the selfie, you got 20 megapixel selfie on the A42, 60 megapixel on the N200, and they both shoot at 1080p, so similar selfie cameras. Both of these do offer a headphone jack, which is nice. Flagships don't even offer that anymore, so you can connect your mic, your headphones, and connect it to your car via aux cord to listen to music. As for wireless, you get Bluetooth 5.0 on the Samsung, 5.1 on the Oneplus. Both will connect to your wearables, your smart headphones, or your smart speakers, stuff like that. You both got NFC on board, so that's mostly used for payment systems, and you got USB Type-C port for charging. Now for the fingerprint and unlocking, it's very different, and this is probably what's going to make this a difference for a lot of people, and what separates a low to mid-range to flagship display and phone. The fingerprint on the A42 is under the display, while you get a side-mounted fingerprint reader on the N200. Usually when a phone has a under-the-display fingerprint reader, that's a sign that it's a mid to flagship device. Any other phone that's on the side or in the back, that signifies that it's mid to lower end. And that's kind of what separates a flagship from a mid-range to a lower end phone. Moving on to the battery, one of the most important features of a phone. Both of these have a 5,000 milliamp battery, which is awesome. It'll last you 1, 2, or 3 days of battery life depending on your usage. Very impressed that I do not like any phones that have anything less than a 5,000 milliamp battery nowadays. They both have fast charging at 15 watts on the A42, 18 watts on the N200 5G. What are my thoughts, opinions after comparing the specs of these two devices? Well, price-wise and value-wise, the N200 goes a long way if you want a 5G phone. It does everything that you need it to do, and that has that nice 90 hertz refresh rate. It just has everything, like, especially if you like stock Android, it goes a long way. And the price point for free to $240, you really can't beat that. And the phone looks pretty nice too. It looks like a Oneplus 9, which is, a flagship. But on the other hand, the A42 5G, if you like Samsung cameras, you like that ultra wide camera on there, it has really nice things to like. But the price point, $400, is not too bad, but it doesn't give you much more than what's available on the N200. You get a little bit of a faster processor, you got a little bit of internal storage bump, and you get a 4K camera. But all in all, the big difference here that makes it more expensive is going to be the under-the-display fingerprint reader. But to me, it doesn't really matter what kind of fingerprint reader it has or where it's located, but I think that's what makes this phone a little bit more expensive. But regardless, it's still not a bad deal. If you're looking for a nice camera phone and you want 5G, a big battery, and you like Samsung software on there, then this phone will be right up your alley. But between these two, value-wise, the N200 5G, you really can't beat it. Plus, the A42, you usually find it on Verizon. It's mostly a Verizon available type phone, although you can get it unlocked, but it won't work on all the carriers, so be careful with that. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Slide into my DMs on Instagram if you have anything to say or to ask. I'll be more than happy to hit you back, or just leave a comment below and we'll take it from there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.